We want the world to know
I have
we have
come to take
a
you
long
home,
way. We are not
where
like
the ancient mountains
spotless
shout your
white
name.
shirts. We are khaki.
I have made your bed at the foot
It is
of the
the
hill.
time, the road,
Your blankets are covered
the
in
dust,
buchu and mint.
the heat, the rain,
I have
and the
come
wind,
to rescue
which
you
did
away,
it all.
away
At the deep
from
of
the poking
night,
eyes of the
when the
man-made
heartbeat
monster
keeps pace with the
who lives
persistent
in the
twinkle
dark with
of the
these clutches
stars,
of imperialism.
when we hear the slow pace of the moon and our
Who
breath
dissects your
keeps
body
our
bit by
eyelids
bit, who
blinking,
likens your soul
we
to that
listen.
of Satan and declares himself
We
the
watch
ultimate God.
with our silent fingers, we page for wisdom through the
Ek is
stubborn
hier om jou
night.
huis toe te neem.
Sleepless, we ask.
Daar waar die
What
ouer
is
berge
stubborn
jou naam
patience?
uitroep.
We page through each
Ek
other's
het jou bed
face.
bereid in die voet
We
van die
read
berg.
each looking eye. It
Jou
has taken
komberse
lives to
uitgedos
be able
met
to do
boego en
so.
kruisement.
We move like a tortoise as we
Daar
journey
waar die
home.
proteas pronk in geel en
Home.
wit.
Where
Daar
are we
sing
that
die
we are not
rivier
home?
jou verwelkomingslied.
Why do none of my emails ask if I'm okay? My beloved acquaintance, how have we been finding life here on our haunches? How vivid have encounters with history felt against our bare faces this summer? After months of hiding, I crawled from beneath a rock that had fallen on me in June, only to discover that many more rocks had fallen and cracked open after and over the first. Debris everywhere, of course, and I slept through it. But my dear acquaintance, I was still happy to feel the day on my face, imagine. With tears chasing from my eyes and every bone in my body white and dry, I still felt relieved to see the wide open sky from which these rocks were falling. I might as well, right? I might as well smell these flowers and feel the sun on my skin. The trees are swaying. The wind is gentle with them. It wasn't for some time. For some time, it pulled and pushed and promised to yank them from the earth and send them hurtling through time, desecrating and threatening and pollinating along the way. But they're dancing today, the wind and these trees. I think I'm writing to you today in hopes that this finds you. We are from the same place, you and I. I am bound to reach out to you when I think we are falling. So, in all probability, should this find you at all, it will find you senseless or stricken or tender with shock or shaking or still hoping not to be found. In all probability, everything you have received has hoped to find you well enough that it may ride your wellness to its own benefit. If you have been in a state similar to mine, perhaps your body has run up bills that your heart and mind cannot afford to pay. Perhaps you have wondered when the vultures pecking at your sorry flesh will notice that you have nothing left but broken, hollow bones. All the flowers are blooming. I can't help but to dance among them. Imagine me, the battered and unresponsive mass that is lying in the sand waiting for her name to be called, dancing. Those things waiting to see if I have been found well enough to labor will think that I dance to mock them. They will not know to celebrate with me, to celebrate that I can dance, all histories considered. That I want to dance is a miracle. That I know to dance is the mark of a fine spiritual education. That I can smell these flowers despite the putrid stench of death, that I know it is summer. Oh, honor to the pedagogy of my relentless lineage. I have attended many funerals in my life, and I have felt a mix of things. A sadness at a loss, and then another thing, a kind of joy at seeing and holding and sharing love and kinship. An online funeral has a mix of things too. Grief and the open tabs beside it. Who will harmonize with you when you sing their favorite hymn? who will comfort you before your next Zoom meeting. I'm sorry, my dear acquaintance, I lost a large part of my coherence during the rockfall. I have not had a thought I can follow in months. I wonder, have you been sleeping? I run to sleep like it will carry me somewhere safer, and then I wake from it sweating when I remember that my friends are dead. My friends are dead. My Monstera Deliciosas leaves are unfurling as though my uncle didn't die. And I still find new comfort in Frank Ocean lyrics like I haven't doused my friends whose parents died just months apart with silence. I'm hiding in hope now, my dear ally, hoping that when pain ferments, it turns to something useful, like genius. I wish I had a vice stronger than thoughts, and I hope this finds you dancing.
When the first light is pink and the sea roars quiet, when the moon still hangs in the dawn-hued sky and a shadow of a man is on the horizon, you will leave. Too. Leave me alone, the girl sobs in her sleep. Every inch of her sleeping body shakes in fear. It is the tremble before letting go. It is the tremble before the undoing. The tremble that is the undoing. The prayer. Hail first, Mother, keeper of the silence. The great symphony is born of thee. Bless the songs in our skins, that our singing may bless the trees. Fiercest Mother, you were the first tree. Pray for our listening now and at the hour of our death, that we may return to thee. Amen.
Soms ontvou ek myself en versprei elke stukkie in die wind. Been en drome, sand en geloof, tyd en God, tande en sonde. Kyk, daar waai ek alweer. Water en toorwoorde, die politikus en babatrane, 'n geroeste gedig en toonnaals, 'n hoes in die aand en suurlemoenskille. Ek is 'n ou boek en nuwe woorde, maanlig en sagte gebede. Ek is die reënboog en die droogte, die nag en die eerste kraai van dooie hoenders. 'n Ou lied en vuil skoene, 'n kerkjas en daggapitte. Ek is die plooie van 'n ou boesman en die vingers van 'n blinde man. Ek is niks en alles, 'n bietjie van die en baie van die. Ek is nuut en gereed vir die wind om nog stukkies by te voeg.
When she named me, Umakhulu strung 5 blue beads onto my tongue. When the day came to burn the bones, Umakazi was already gone. On the evening before Umalume's funeral, Umama lit a candle to shout at God. The women in the hut have a language no one understands. On the morning her umbilical cord fell, my daughter was circled by a pride of wild cats, and then it rained for 4 days non-stop. There was a string of blue beads wrapped around my stomach when my daughter grew inside me. Umakhulu was once locked up in a cell for seeing voices. Umama could not keep Umakhulu safe. Umama was a child. Umakazi received the names of her herbs from her grandfather. My daughter was born very small. The doctors say there was too much room for her to play. I do not dream. There is no room to sit up emva komkhusana. I do not dream. I do not know where the beads broke. I do not dream. I do not know where my tongue is. I do not dream. I do not know where the beads broke.
Fleas dream of buying themselves a dog. And nobodies dream of escaping poverty. That one magical day, good luck will suddenly rain down on them, will rain down in buckets. But good luck doesn't even fall in a fine drizzle. No matter how hard the nobodies summon it, even if their left hand is tickling, or if they begin the new day with their right foot, or start the new year with a change of brooms. The nobodies, nobody's children, owners of nothing, the nobodies, the no ones, the no-bodied, running like rabbits, dying through life, screwed every which way, who don't speak languages but dialects, who don't have religions but superstitions, who don't create art but handicrafts, who don't have culture but folklore, who are not human beings but human resources, who do not have names but numbers, who do not appear in the history of the world but in the police blotter of the local paper. The nobodies who are not worth the bullet that kills them.
I see everything now. All the lonely chairs in the house with sunken seats, ashy mahogany hardwood floors with black footprints, naked walls with dry cracked lips, the quiet shelf cradling your torn blue jersey. I meant to give it back to your mother, but first I had to sew it just before you left. And on it, there is a purple pin I chose to hold it with, and a purple string running through it, and you are not in all of them. And on the news, I see children staring at me, outside their mothers' mouths. Around them is a village on fire, thousands presumed dead. I see all the living ones and the dead ones staring, dark clouds born, grow big above them. This is the place you left me in. This is the place you meant to build me in. And despite all my tragedy and despite all their tragedy, the fires and the losses in other women's worlds, my tragedy is bigger than theirs. I am a terrible human, a damned soul who might not make it to you. My pain is not lightened by the ending of other people's worlds. I am a terrible human. I look for fathers when I see children, and I run to my car when I find them. I am a terrible human, but I stay away from everyone so I don't pretend to be better. And to be alone is to know this. I am a terrible human without you. To be alone is to hear the true state of my mind, its thoughts that pour, to plead with myself to be better, to beg myself to open the windows, to switch back the lights, to switch back on the lights. I am rotting inside this body, and to be alone is to smell what I have become. I feel the emptiness trying to escape, to see me without you, to see my fate decided without me, to see our children without you, to see them look for you and know they will never find you, to close my eyes and try to crawl back into my mother's womb and remember who I was before this place, what I wanted to be before this place, before you, to helplessly try to see my face, to know my name, to hear my first heartbeat, to find why it came out and what it beat for before you.
Brother, have you heard the ocean's song? The water lies flat this morning, gray blue on the horizon, pushing to green at the shore. The sunrise is an orange breath through cloud. This is the softness to which I must return. Before dawn each day, it calls me. My first prayer is a walk along the water's edge. Beyond it is the silence. That is where we are home. The single voice, say my name, is now a chorus in my dreams. Say our names, say our names, say our names. It spills into my day, their voices lap at my lobes. When I return to the stillness, I will remember it all. I feel it coming. My voice will soon be theirs. The silence takes me a little more each morning.
I am a body of work. This body could, would, is, isn't. This body remembered, kicked, jumped, fought, was changed, spoiled. This body protested, toiled, missed, fell. This body snaps, this body hides, this body grows, this body pretends, breaks, defends, flies, lies, this body left. This body cries, this body lost, starved, broke. This body shows, this body bites, licks, aches, forgets, folds. This body has, this body will, this body holds.
1. The world has always been ending, I said. And you said, yes. Today, half lost on the senderos among its dry brush and thorns, I hear my mother's voice in the rocks, see in the rust plains and lava bulbs, and cairns stacked as markers, her cells massing upon her heart, lungs running riot along her sternum. Soon the nights of marrow talk, of jabs, and the 7 last words. Serum nights with vials, the joyful mysteries, thumbs on decades falling asleep. I light a match with the end of another, warm poisons and gauze for the new year. 2. The world has always been ending, she said. And I said, yes. Today we walk bearing hymnals and lilacs for the gazebo green, for stairwells and chalks drawn to mark the hem of a body. We bring each place its dirge in the shape of teeth, slugs, a tongue pressed to concrete, its fugue scored for sirens and windpipes, pellet guns and bells. We bless the blue of this wide winter sky above our city for once. Let it mean more to us than smoke, more than blood starved of air beneath skin, more than anthems hollowed or a field for stars dying and dead. 3. The world has always been ending, he said. And you said, yes. Today, they are burning the names of the boys they are shooting in the street. This, because we and they know ashes mean undone leads and muzzles loosened, floodlights and flares, eyes doused with milk. At the chapel for Vespers, a woman holds a globe she has decked with poppies and birch tar and foil. Her son colors in a book of heralds and dragons, traces his palm. Now, the Magnificat. Now, I am down on my knees, sure only that the fires will come again and again.
And one day, the wind blows our way again. We do not ask where it comes from and what it carries. We let it move the soil and bend the trees. We watch it become stronger. Here's the moment. Maybe we can tell the wind to go back. Maybe we can prepare better for the current. Maybe I pull the clothes off the washing line on time and I close all the windows before the wind pulls the door from its hinges. And all the children live, and Mama has open arms to embrace us all.
There is an old woman across the river. She is made of sand and fire, carrying a child on her back. I cannot reach her. She has turned the river dry. The mud is buried, turned angry, swallows rocks and children who still believe in water. It has not rained for 3 full moons. Small girl is no longer a child. The old woman does not break her back carrying her. She carried rocks and built a house in another life. Small girl is singing. Tears are falling from her eyes. She is tired. Her feet do not know the ground. I tell the old woman to sit her into the river. Small girl's feet will bring peace between the burning sand woman and the water.
Whisper my fragile self into your palm. Hold onto my changing faces. Peel back the layers, meet the mess beneath. Yes, I'm a beautiful mess of smiles and rotting emotions. Break open fading dreams, rebuild my discarded today. Save me from the cobwebs. Dance with the rainbows under my skin. Water me. Kiss my wounds. Find me. And I will do the same for you.
And thank you too. And thanks for the corduroy couch I have put you on. Put your feet up. Here's a light blanket, a pillow, dear one, for I can feel this is going to be long. I can't stop my gratitude, which includes, dear reader, you for staying here with me, for moving your lips just so as I speak. Here is a cup of tea. I've spooned honey into it. And thank you, the tiny bee's shadow, perusing these words as I write them, and the way my love talks quietly when in the hive, so quietly, in fact, you can hear her, but only notice, you cannot hear her, but only notice barely her lips moving in conversation. Thank you, what does not scare her in me, but makes her reach my way. Thank you, the love she is, which hurts sometimes. And the time she misremembered elephants in one of my poems, which, oh, here they come, garlanded with morning glory and wisteria blooms, trombones all the way down to the river. Thank you, the quiet in which the river bends around the elephant's solemn trunk, polishing stones, floating on its gentle back, the flock of geese flying overhead.
According to African traditional spirituality, you do not say thank you for that which gives you life, because life is not from people, it is from your Creator. Also, according to traditional African spirituality, if I come to you seeking that which gives you life, and I am in a position to give it to you, I must do so, because life is not from people, it is from your Creator. There is no one so poor that they do not deserve that which gives them life, because life is not from people, it is from your Creator. We give an offering to fill the bucket from which we drink, so that those who follow may not die of thirst, because life is not from people, it is from your Creator. What a gift it is to give and to receive, because life is not from us, it is from your Creator.
One day, a woman is visited by some young people who seem to be bent on disproving her clairvoyance and showing her up for the fraud they believe she is. Their plan is simple. They enter her house and ask the one question, the answer to which rides solely on her difference from them, a difference they regard as a profound disability, her blindness. They stand before her, and one of them says, "Old woman, I hold in my hand a bird. Tell me whether it is alive or dead." She does not answer, and the question is repeated, "Is the bird I'm holding living or dead?" Still, she does not answer. She's blind and cannot see her visitors, let alone what is in their hands. She does not know their color, gender, or homeland. She only knows their motive. The old woman's silence is so long, the young people have trouble holding their laughter. Finally, she speaks and her voice is soft but stern. "I don't know," she says. "I don't know whether the bird you are holding is dead or alive. And what I do know is that it is in your hands. It is in your hands." Her answer can be taken to mean, if it is dead, you have either found it that way or you have killed it. If it is alive, you can still kill it. Whether it is to stay alive, it is your decision. Whatever the case, it is your responsibility. For parading their power and her helplessness, the young visitors are reprimanded, told they are responsible not only for the act of mockery, but also for the small bundle of life sacrificed to achieve its aims. The blind woman shifts attention away from the assertion of power to the instrument through which that power is exercised. Speculation on what, other than its own frail body, that bird in hand might signify has always been attractive to me. But especially so now, thinking as I have been about the work I do that has brought me to this company. So I choose to read the bird as language and the woman as a practiced writer. Oppressive language does more than represent violence. It is violence. does more than represent the limits of knowledge, it limits knowledge. Whether it is obscuring state language or the faux language of mindless media, whether it is the proud but calcified language of the academy or the commodity-driven language of science, whether it is the malign language of law without ethics or language designed for the estrangement of minorities, hiding its racist plunder in its literary cheeks, it must be rejected, altered, and exposed. It is the language that drinks blood, laps vulnerabilities, tucks its fascist boots under crinolines of respectability and patriotism as it moves relentlessly towards the bottom line and the bottomed out mind. Sexist language, racist language, theistic language, all are typical of the policing language of mastery and cannot, do not permit new knowledge or encourage the mutual exchange of ideas. The old woman is keenly aware that no intellectual mercenary nor insatiable dictator, no paid-for politician or demagogue, no counterfeit journalist would be persuaded by her thoughts. There is and will be rousing language to keep citizens armed and arming, slaughtered and slaughtering in the malls, courthouses, post offices, playgrounds, bedrooms, and boulevards, stirring, memorializing language to mask the pity and waste of needless death. There will be more diplomatic language to countenance rape, torture, assassination. There is and will be more seductive, mutant language designed to throttle women to pack their throats like pate-producing geese with their own unsayable, transgressive words. There will be more of the language of surveillance disguised as research of politics and history, calculated to render the suffering of millions mute. Language glamorized to thrill the dissatisfied and bereft into assaulting their neighbors. Arrogant, pseudo-empirical language crafted to lock creative people into cages of inferiority and hopelessness. Underneath the eloquence, the glamour, the scholarly associations, however stirring or seductive, the heart of such language is languishing, or perhaps not beating at all, if the bird is already dead. She has thought about what could have been the intellectual history of any discipline if it had not insisted upon or been forced into the waste of time and life that rationalizations for and representations of dominance required. Lethal discourse of exclusion, blocking access to cognition for both the excluder and the excluded. The conventional wisdom of the Tower of Babel story is that the collapse was a misfortune, that it was the distraction or the weight of many languages that precipitated the tower's failed architecture, that one monolithic language would have expedited the building and heaven would have been reached. Whose heaven, she wonders, and what kind? Perhaps the achievement of paradise was premature, a little hasty, if no one could take the time to understand other languages, other views, other narratives, period. Had they, the heaven they imagined might have been found at their feet. Complicated, demanding, yes, but a view of heaven as life, not heaven as post-life.
For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, for those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways coming and going, in the hours between dawns looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures. Like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who are imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. When the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive.
Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is.
Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away of life.
Remember your birth. How your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers.
Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth.
We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too.
Talk to them.
Listen to them.
They are alive poems.
Remember the wind.
Remember her voice.
She knows the origin of this universe. Remember, you are all people, and all people are you.
Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you.
Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you.
Remember, language comes from this.
Remember, the dance language is.
That life is.
Remember.
Stay with me when the sun rises from the western sky, with silver spears lashing at earth and your youth. When the eastern horizon hangs smoke as celebration to a fading dream, will you take my blistered hand to a kiss? That journey between reflex, action, and conviction, where moments flash from substance to emotion, and where we count the seconds of
when my
instinct.
knees refuse to
We
bend at
live
your
in
beauty,
times where
but
we are
my
against
eye of
time.
raises
An
the
impulse
outlook of
rules
soul,
over us,
that power that
undirected,
dreams awake the
unelected
Brazilian
factor.
forest,
We live cliche as
strength
fact,
of
and fact
wish,
is
and
cliche.
be awakened
To that
is
one
our day.
beat of change, will you stay with me?
When I have no more hallelujahs.
When I have no more hallelujahs to your name, and instead offer dahlias to your anonymity, when my knees refuse to bend at your beauty, but my eye of growth rises an altar to your soul, that power that dreams awake the Brazilian forest, or in its strength of wish reawakens the dead. At Kasinga,
At
Biafra, wherever your heart lives amongst the innocent dead, will you really stay with me when I stand and sing to the world its magnitude, its greatness, for an ability to turn itself upside down, while the inhabitants still believe in its constance, unaware that their heads are facing downwards. Nowadays, they don't hang you by the neck till you die. They dangle you by the feet till the blood comes to your brain. It's a high feeling that makes you reach for the sky, but touch earth as limit, as ecstasy of reaching some end.
Because some journeys are so long and much longer when you live in a dream forest called poetry. Because some journeys are so long and much longer when you dream in a forest called poetry.
In a dream forest called poetry. They say it is not by bread alone that you live.
It's not by bread alone that we
I know.
I know.
It is by poetry alone that we survived. With poetry dancing on our tongues, we wiped blood from our mouths. We charmed our torturers. We dangled freedom bells from our shackles. We made music out of sirens. We made homes out of prisons. We redesigned parliaments out of corrugated iron. We petrol bombed our angry past. We blasted our martyrs out of our brains. We made shrines out of their graves. We weaved forgiveness onto our t-shirts, and with the last remaining droplets of blood, we paint peace on angry, dark skies. We silenced our solitude. We mated our humility
with our anger,
with hammers
and chisels.
We punched hope Deep into our hearts, we saw,
We danced.
we danced, we played water games with our tears, and now,
And now,
now we wave
we
flags
wave
so
flags
bright,
so bright.
sometimes brighter than our futures.
But stay with me.
But stay with me. Stay
Stay
with
with
me.
me.
When the jungle has no trees,
When the wind has no breath,
and the wind has no breath,
when the jungle has no trees,
when the
The
rain
desert
has no sea,
sand.
the desert has no sand,
the stars have no
the
eyes
stars
to
have no
see.
eyes to
No
see.
God
eyes to
has
see.
no mercy.
God has no mercy.
God has no mercy.
And the devil is making a barbecue out of
barbecue
this land.
out of the
Now,
Now,
land.
will you stay with me?
will you stay with
Will
me?
you stay with me?
Stay. So that we sing
So that we
songs
sing
from
songs
experience.
from experience.
We sing ideas from consciousness, and let's cultivate destiny from the barrenness of this history. Stay with me.
Stay
Shall
with
you?
me.
Shall you?
Shall you?
Please.
Please.
Please.